Hey everybody, Sharon here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Mega Man 11, grabbing the Go Blue or Go Home achievement. This is to make it to the boss room of any stage without taking any damage. I recommend doing this in New Game Plus. The reason for that is you can head into the store and buy these really OP upgrades. You can buy an upgrade that pretty much gives you infinite weapon power and another one that gives you infinite gear time. Then what you want to do is you want to start up Torchman stage. This is the easiest stage to do it simply because there aren't too many platforming hazards in here, and it's pretty much just straight up fighting. So what you want to do once you start the stage is you want to equip Tundra Man's weapon, and then you want to activate the power gear. What a power geared Tundra Man weapon does is pretty much clears the screen, and since you have infinite of both, you can pretty much just abuse this for the entire stage. So just get through the hard parts just using this ability to kill all the enemies. Your only real hazards are going to be the cloaking guys, simply because you can't kill them until they fully apparate on screen, so make sure you get near them. Once they take their cloaks off, make sure you hit them with this thing. And as you can see, all you have to do is just worry about the jumping. It even takes out those giant bulldozer guys in one hit, so it's very useful. Once you get to the first flame chase, this thing also freezes the flame, giving you extra time to do it. If the flame does get too close, I recommend switching to the speed gear, but honestly, with a fully upgraded Tundra Man blast, you should be able to walk through this easy peasy. Be a little careful when walking underneath the barbecue guys, simply because they're infinitely spawning and one might sneak up on you, but as you can see, the first chase is no problem. Same thing with this part, just be a little careful when touching the right side of the screen. Then you are going to get to the first darkness section. This one's a little tricky. If you take out the owl too early, obviously you can't see the way. However, if you switch over to Fuse Man's weapon, you can light up the floor, and this will give you some temporary light. And you can use this for this part as well as the second darkness part. You can also switch back to Tundra Man's weapon if you need some crowd control, but keep in mind you got to be a little careful when doing it over a pit, because if you do fall into a pit, even on casual difficulty, it will void the achievement since you can't use any death protection to get the achievement done. Once you get to here, a rush coil will bounce you to the top platform. Use another Tundra Blast to take out the turret guy, and just keep doing this until you get to the first mini-boss. 2 Tundra Blasts will take the mini-boss out, so make sure you do that as quickly as possible. Then on to the next screen, you can grab the health if you want to, although you don't need it since by now you shouldn't have taken any damage. Make sure you take out the next bulldozer guy on this screen and then get to this part, your next fire chase. This one's going to be all cloaking enemies, so make sure you get close to them and then hit them, but be very careful that you hit them before they can hit you, because once they apparate, they will generally send some fire your way, so make sure you're quick on those blasts, and then you can also use the blast to make sure you freeze the fire. There's some pretty tight jumps, especially right here, although if you get into a pinch, you can always use the speed gear to get yourself some slow-mo. But once you get past this, you have another barbecue section part. Make sure you be very careful with the ones spawning on the right again. Then once you get to here, you need to use the rush jet to get across, since there's no real safe way of getting across. So make sure you time it that you're going between the waves of the barbecue guys. And once you touch the other side of the screen, switch back to Tundra and then clear this one. This is going to be the harder of the platforming bits, since there are a lot of jumps here, although you can use Fuse Man's weapon to light the way, so just be a little careful and make sure you're not jumping when it's completely dark. Once you get to here, you want to switch back to Tundra, take out the bulldozer guy, switch back to Fuse, light the way. You have to be standing on the absolute edge in order to make this jump so you don't hit your head on the ceiling, and then make your way across. Tundra Blast right here, then switch back to Fuse, light the way, make these next 2 jumps, and be careful for the owl coming in. Make sure you don't get stuck on the weapon switch like I did, and hopefully you can take him out, and just continue to use the Fuse to light the way. And then you want to switch back and forth, watching out for the spiders. So clear out the spiders. You are supposed to take the higher road up. However, if you do get stuck in the bottom, you have to use the rush coil in order to make this jump right here. So make sure you do that, and then get to the next screen. Quickly switch back to Tundra, and then take out all the enemies, and then just make your way across. Easy peasy. Drop down here, and then you have your next fire chase scene. This one can be a little tough, so make sure you constantly spam the Tundra Blast the best you can, while also taking out the enemies. So just keep making your way right and keep spamming this thing as much as possible. Try not to get stuck on any of the platforming bits. If you do get into a pinch, remember your speed gear is also there, which will give you some slow-mo so you can get away from the fire, hopefully. And you can use the Tundra Blast without the power gear, although it hits a smaller range. So hit up the sliding bit. This is where I like to switch over to the speed gear so I can make these few slides and jumps without having to worry. Back to the power gear to take out some of the enemies right here. And we're just going to keep making our way to the right, keep hitting Tundra to freeze the fire behind us as well as any enemies, and the boss room is just dead ahead. Once we get here, just get to the boss fight. You don't have to fight the boss in order to get the achievement. It pops right before. So there it is, and there's the achievement. 30 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.